Hey gang, welcome back to another video. This one's a bit different. We keep doing lots of different stuff, I know, just trying to keep it interesting. Coop's still ticking along, patiently waiting. You saw a little update on that recently, so we're still chipping away. Lots of customer work on the go, so that's taking up a lot of the time. Anyway, I figured I would introduce to you a new car to the channel. This is something I bought or did a deal on a little while ago. The car is a pretty rare car. It's not actually a BMW, believe it or not. Well, technically it is. You might have seen it peeping in the back of some of the other videos I've done. But yeah, there she is. It's an E39 ALPINA B10. So essentially, for those who don't know Alpinas, they are a BMW chassis, a complete BMW car originally. Alpina buy the cars from BMW, or used to. They buy the car off the production line and basically tune it to whatever spec the customer wanted, or whatever Alpina wanted to do. So this particular one is, or was formerly, a 530 Auto E39 saloon, but it's now an Alpina. And the Alpina bits and pieces on it's got a fair few bits. The main peach is the engine, which is a 3.3 litre straight six. It's essentially a US M3 E36 lump, so the S52 B32, a tweaked version of that. So it's got bigger displacement, some lightweight pistons, a few other trick bits and pieces, some different cams, different intake manifolds, stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool car. Factory, I don't know how many they made. I'm guessing probably it's got to be a couple of hundred right-hand drive or something like that. So they're not like ultra rare, but they're rare enough that, you know, you don't really see many of them. And if you do see it, you kind of know what it is. There's the intake manifold off the car. It's a pretty spicy little Alpina unit. So those of you who do know these cars, this one is fairly high mileage. It's got about 160k on it, I think. But it's quite a good shell. It looks pretty sorry for itself at the moment. So the backstory is a fella had it for numerous amounts of years, and they were daily driving it. And the car, they gave it to a garage for some light recommissioning, brakes, powder coat the wheels, brake lines, stuff like that, which the garage did get on and do. But during COVID, whilst the car was parked outside, someone stole the cats from it. Obviously the cats back then were worth quite a bit of money. So the customer then sold that to the garage. I guess they were going to take it on as a recommission or something like that. But they didn't end up doing anything with it. A trader then bought the car. He had full intentions of putting it back on the road, sorting an exhaust, sorting an MOT on it, and then the next stage would have been to probably sell it on. Anyway, I don't know what happened, but one day he'd used the car, taken it down the road, and the bonnet actually opened up. So not this bonnet, there's another bonnet underneath that's pretty battered. You can see there the corners of it. So the bonnet actually opened, swung open, smashed the glass sunroof, and broke the windscreen up there. Luckily he didn't do any damage to the roof, which is amazing. And then basically at that point he decided that he wasn't interested in the car. It wasn't worth his time fixing it, whatever reason. And then that's where I came in. So I saw it up for sale. I paid his asking price, or we did a deal. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to own it. I've had it now for a little while, as you might have seen in some of the other videos kicking around. Basically, I've just been struggling for time to get to it. It's not an M car, but it's kind of the gentleman's equivalent of an M car. Yeah, a little bit more classy than M car. M cars are quite hooligan. The Alpina's sort of got the get up and go, but with a bit more elegance to it, and I quite like that. So I'm thinking this might become the new daily driver. Sell the 38. 38's lovely, and it's really perfect for what I need, but it's an Alpina, so it doesn't owe me a great deal of money currently. One thing is I didn't buy the wheels with it. The guy who sold it wanted quite a bit for the wheels, and to be honest with you, they were refurb, but the tyres, even though the tyres were new, they were dry rotted, and at that point it just didn't seem worth buying it with the wheels, because originally I'd actually intended to pull the engine out of this and put it into my yellow touring. So that was the plan all along. That's the reason I bought it. I was going to break up the bits I don't need, sell the you know, the Alpina, the lip, the clocks and stuff like that, and take the engine for my touring. However, in my infinite wisdom, I then brought the car back, or the car got delivered, and I had a good look over it. And to be honest with you, it's quite a good shell. It's not perfect. Probably, if it was perfect, then yeah, it would probably end up with some collector. The fact it's not perfect means I'm pretty happy to use it, because I'm not going to be too precious over it. I will obviously look after it like I do with most of my cars, but the bodywork isn't perfect. So for example, there's a bit of a scrape down here and here. All the arches are solid. There's a bit of rust, nothing too bad yet. The other side there's a bit more rust. Let me show you. You can just about see down there, it's been sort of patched up, well, painted over. It's not rotten. I mean, it would probably want fresh metal if you're going to do it properly, but it's sort of good enough that, you know, it doesn't look terrible, and not so bad that it needs cutting out and metal putting in just yet. So it's sort of primed to use. It's got a few dents and scrapes in it. The rear bumper's got a fairly big dent in it. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, I could keep it daily, and it'd be a pretty cool car to as a daily driver. Obviously, you know, I love the 38, and that's been a good car to me, and I am a 38 fanboy, but it's an Alpina, and one day I'd love to own a B12 E38, but the chances of owning one of them are slim, because there's so much money and they're very rare, and I don't think they are. Even if I sold a lot of the stuff I own and could build some funds up to go and buy one of them, the issue would be I'd be putting so much money into one car, there's no way feasibly I could justify, you know, daily driving it, because I'd be so scared of damaging it. But then equally, to justify the price, I would need to daily drive it. So yeah, if anything, this is kind of perfect. Anyway, we want this because it's an Alpina. So at the very least, the plan was originally pull the engine, put it in the touring, break this up. Got the shell back. Shell's pretty good, doesn't need much welding, maybe a little bit to the floors at a later date, but the jack and whites are still solid. It just needs basically a bit of love. It needs a new bonnet, which I have sourced in the right colour. It needs a glass sunroof, which I have also sourced, and that's what I'm going to be getting on with today. The intake manifold, it run really bad. All the gaskets and stuff were shot, so that's off. That's going to get blasted and powder coated. So yeah, besides that, then it's going to need a little bit of exhaust work, because someone cut the caps off, so I need to weld some caps back into it. And then beyond that, it should really be ready for an MOT. I need to figure out the wheel situation. Obviously it'd be nice to put it back on some Alpinas, but I'm not that bothered. I mean, I could temporarily use these, but 20-inch Alpinas on it. I mean, they're pretty big, as you've seen on my touring. If you've seen the 540, you'll know the 20-inch wheels on a 39 are pretty big. But yeah, it would look pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. I'll show you some of the bits and pieces. So the Alpina specific parts, it's not got tons and tons of spec, but it has got the Alpina rear boot spoiler, which is pretty cool. Obviously the badging on the back, B10 3.3. Inside the car, it has got the Alpina steering wheel, pretty worn to be honest, not horrendous, but yeah, it's pretty tired, probably wants redoing. It's got the Alpina clocks, 200 mile an hour, which is pretty sick, and they're blue, which is pretty cool. I think it's got the Alpina floor mats, the Alpina kick plate thingies. Obviously the gearbox is a Switchtronic auto currently. The gearbox seems to work. I've driven the car but only at low speed. It seems to work, but obviously with an auto you don't really know until it's up to temp and put it through its paces. So we'll see. There's a chance if I kept it, some longer term. Oh, hang on, before I go too far, I'll show you the last Alpina specific bit on it. And that's obviously the front lip and the engine. But yeah, the engine looks virtually identical to any M52 you see in like an E36 really. There's only a few minor differences from the untrained eye, such as the intake manifold, the throttle body I think is unique to it, and a couple of little bits like the intake boot and stuff, but for the most part it's an M52 with a few choice bolt-ons. It actually makes 280 horsepower, I think about 250 foot-pounds. So it's pretty sprightly for an NA straight 6 of this era. Bear in mind it's 2001, so it's a 23-year-old car. So in that era, it's pretty good. But yeah, plans for the car. So like I've said briefly, get it back on the road first and foremost. So I've sourced the bonnet, I've sourced the sunroof. I'm going to fit that today. The manifold's off. Going to send that for powder coat, new gaskets, O-rings, all that stuff. Make it run right. Then I need to figure out the exhaust, get that welded up, done. Then road test it and see if the auto box is happy. If the auto box is happy, I'll probably just leave it as it is and go and MOT it. If the auto box is shagged, well then I'm gonna need to make a decision at that point as to whether to keep it auto, which is probably what a 5 Series should be because it's a cruiser, but equally this is a pretty potent one. So that leads on to a further plan, which is these engines are love boost. It's an iron block. It's not a typical M52, it's closer to the US S52, so it loves boost. So I've seen quite a few people do this now, and it seems like quite a safe, reliable way of making quite a lot of power. So standard 280 brake. If we put a fairly decent sized turbo on it and cram, I don't know, 8 to 10 psi down its neck, don't make it work too hard, we're probably going to be making mid 400s, low 400 horsepower without too much drama. And then yeah, at that point obviously the auto box isn't going to last very long, although it would be pretty cool to have an auto with that much power in an old 39, I think, because it would be pretty stealthy. But yeah, so the auto box is kind of up in the air until I know for certain it's good. But then I think I want to use the car as an auto if it's good and make a decision as to what I want from it. If I drive it and I think, you know what, this has got plenty of power, I'm happy with it being auto, fine. But I do have a bonkers idea to manual swap it, which I have gearboxes, so that's no great expense. Turbo it, which does come at an expense, but being E39, you've got quite a bit of room on the exhaust side, unlike an E36, which is a bit of a bugger to put a turbo on because obviously space is somewhat limited. And then yeah, you've got a giant sleeper. Obviously people will know it's an Alpina, but if it's 400 plus horsepower, that'd be pretty nuts. So at that point it'll be faster than M5, faster than most stuff on the road, and you're in a giant barge that just oozes coolness. So yeah, that's a lot of information, but that's kind of the car. As you can tell, I've already done quite a bit of research on it. It's a cool car. It has also got quite a few goodies. Obviously black leather interior, manual, but the seats are it's got the heated seats, heated seats. So it's got heated seats, which is pretty cool. Obviously it's a facelift, so it's got the more modern rear lights, with sport rear lights, whatever they are. It did have power fold mirrors, which is a nice touch, but they're broken, so it's got these hideous things, so they're going in the bin. I do have some non-power fold mirrors in the right colour, which I picked up cheap, so at the very least I'll put those back on. I'm not too fussed on the power fold stuff. The kits are expensive and the mirrors are pretty fragile, so I'm not that fussed. But I do have the original bases with the power fold stuff tucked away in the back of the boot, so if I can repair power fold, I'm hoping it's just the outer caps that are damaged and I can use the non-power fold caps to repair them. That would be pretty cool, but I don't know, I need to test all that, but honestly that's sort of low priority at the moment. The main thing is get the car watertight, you know, with winter coming up, and driving, and just see what it's like and test the engine out, test the gearbox out. I don't want to go crazy spending loads and loads of money on it until I know the engine and box or drivetrain is good, because obviously they're pricey things. There is a few other bits that need addressing, smaller stuff that needs to be done later. If you know your E39s, you've got these mega crusty bits here. There's basically a couple of drains under here from the factory and they do just rot out. So ideally it wants a donor cut from a car from there to there welding in. As you know, I can do that. That's no great expense, but that's not an MOT fail, so we're not going to worry about that too much yet. Another pretty trick thing is it's got a full Alpina exhaust, or what's left of it. Obviously they stole the cats, but the back box up to the midsection is Alpina. So that's pretty cool. I am thinking, as the manifolds on these are standard M52 jobbies, when I fix the exhaust, I wonder if I should fit some, if I keep it NA that is, whether I should fit some S50 exhaust manifolds, because I imagine with the S50 exhaust manifolds and like some sports cats welded in, I could probably get the ECU tweaked and it'll probably make over 300 horse NA, maybe 300 bang on, I don't know. So yeah, that's another idea I've got. But yeah, the car's pretty cool. If you like your Alpinas, obviously you'll appreciate this. It's not the tidiest one in the world, but it's probably good enough to warrant saving because the shell's not shot. The shell wasn't perfect, but it's tidy enough. Rust wise, not too bad. The rear jacking point is solid. It's not crept in there, but the actual flat plate on the bottom is rotten, so that will need cutting out. But yeah, that's how she sits at the moment. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's a perfect car for me to have a play with, tidy up, use, enjoy, not be too precious over. And then if I did want to sell it in today's market, cars at the moment aren't really selling. Obviously I didn't really buy it to make a profit on, I bought it for the engine. So yeah, but I guess if it's MOT'd, if everything is sorted that I've mentioned in the video, including the rust, in today's market it's probably only I don't know, on a bad day it's probably 8 grand, on a good day you might get 10 from it. So it's not a mega money car, but it's a pretty cool car to enjoy. So yeah, I figured I'd buy it, break it. That didn't go to plan because it's quite clean, so I'm going to try and save it. It's not often you get to buy an Alpina for not a lot of money. Yeah, and see what it's about. This might be the start of getting addicted to buying these Alpinas and maybe going off and wanting others, I don't know, but I got it at a good price, and yeah, realistically it's cheap enough that I can fix it up. There's nothing crazy that it needs doing, so it should be a good little fixer upper, and yeah, get it on the road. So if you're interested, I'll see how this video does. If this video does terribly, then I'm not going to continue doing any filming on it. I'm just going to build it on the side and stick to the E36 stuff, which is what most of you guys seem to be interested in. Then yeah, I won't do any more 39 content, but if you guys enjoy it, let me know, comment below, and I will keep it coming. My Europe road trip in the E38 has done very well. Loads of you watching that, so that trip seems to have done wonders for the channel, so glad I did that. But yeah, as you've seen in other videos, there's not really a great deal more you can do with the 38 other than lower it, wheels, and maintain it. And to be honest with you, that just ticks along now, other than I drove into a skip. Big sad. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully you want to see more of this content, and if you do, let me know and I will keep you up to speed with what I'm up to on it. Peace out.